So Serena, she began her real estate career in 2013 with Keller Williams in Phoenix, Arizona. She's graduated Ignite and Bold, and she laid the foundation to successfully grow and lead a team of 10 agents. She has over 30 years experience in project management, sales, training, implementation, and coaching. Serena is driven by personal and professional growth, as well as cultivating strong relationships. Her passion is to teach, coach, and lead others to achieving their goals through clarity, purpose, vision, and execution. She's currently our CEO of the Keller Williams Eugene Springfield office. So feel free to pester her with all of your questions that you need. Make sure you get everything answered. And I know she really, really loves it when she's not talking to a bunch of black screens. So if you get to a point where you can turn your screen on and wink at her or laugh back at her, that always makes it more enjoyable. But I'll let her take it away.
Okay, fantastic. And Mara, I'm not seeing the PowerPoint presentation up. Did I miss that part? Hold on.
It should be in your email with the login instructions, but let me re-forward it to you so you're at the top of it.
I thought I had it up. No, I've got it right here.
You got it? Okay,
I got
perfect.
it up and it didn't open. So let me pull it back up.
And then you'll just screen share. I'm getting that packet for you, Isabel. So just one moment.
Just waiting for it to come up here. Can you guys see my screen?
Not yet. Did you do the share screen on the Zoom first?
Down below, yeah.
And then select your top left screen. Here, I'll run over next door real quick. You're not far.
I don't know why I'm having problems. We're right next door, so that's a good thing. I know. I'm not sure why it's not. Yeah.
And that.
Oh, that didn't come up a second ago.
Weird. And then share. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Now you can go into the back screen. Or the back slide.
There we go. Now can you guys see?
It's loading, but soon.
Okay.
Yep, there it is.
There we go. Okay, fantastic. And I'm so sorry that I'm having technical difficulties here, you guys. Give me just 1 second. My computer is locking up. There we go. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, and now you all went away. Mara, can you come help for just a second?
Yep, let me just hit send on this email to Isabel material. And then
I don't know why I'm having an issue all of a sudden. I absolutely don't know why I'm having an issue with it all of a sudden.
so do you want to just see more of them?
Yeah.
Just put that. There you go.
And then what about the chat?
It'll pop up on the top if someone chats.
It will.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you'll
That's
get
what
like a little
was moving.
notification. there.
Okay, perfect. It just looks different than it did last time. And
Yeah.
if I go back into slideshow, then this goes away.
Yeah, so we're seeing your desktop version of it. We're not seeing
Yeah.
yeah.
You go here and then go to.
So I usually go to slideshow.
Yep, here we go. We're in Google. Yep, there you go.
And I'll just leave them down at the bottom.
Yeah.
That works. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your patience. So yes, I'm the team leader and I don't know technology. All right. So I'm super excited about today because lead generation is one of my favorite things. And as Gary Keller says, well, I'm going to back up before I jump into that. This is your first lead gen segment. In order to have a business in real estate, we need to find people to actually work with. These people are known as leads, and they're going to fuel your business growth and into the present and the future. The leads are responsible for growth potential and they protect you against market shifts, which we're in currently, right? We've experienced that market shift over this last year. And we call our leads and our database our pipeline. Who is actually in our pipeline? Who in our leads have we been communicating with and cultivating on a regular basis to get them into our pipeline? They're actually going to buy, sell, invest, or refer. Okay. In the next segment, we're going to explore the who, what, where, when, why, and how of lead generation. There we go. And we're going to briefly cover 5 lead generation sessions. And we've already talked about your successes. So good job for all of you who are getting your feet wet and doing all of the things, whether you're waiting for your background or you're getting your business cards ordered, you're starting to build your database. I love hearing that. It sounds like you're all off to a great start. So congratulations on that. So what we're going to do by the end of this session, you're going to be able to generate your leads. We're going to talk about the lead generation model, expanding your sphere of influence. What is your sphere of influence? Lead gen best practices. And then we're going to have an opportunity to recap and talk about our ahas as well. So I want you to start thinking about that as we go through the content today. Feel free to interject and ask any questions as we go. I talk fast sometimes, so feel free to interrupt me, raise your hand if you need to. And what we're going to do first is talk about what we already know about lead generation. Okay, this is a quote from Gary Keller. My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. So we're going to start with mindset today. And this was Gary's mindset was, his fear of failure, he realized was greater than his fear of lead generating. Because a lot of people, there's some fear around lead generating. Like, what does that actually look like? We don't want to talk to people. We're afraid we're bothering people. There's all those things going on in our head. So the number one thing we need to address is mindset around lead generation. And in your shift book, and for all of you that are on the class today, Erin is going to be sending you out a PDF copy of Shift because I will be referring to that a couple of times. And so if you don't have that yet, you are going to be getting a PDF copy of that in your email. The very number one tactic in Shift, if you can see my screen, is mindset. Okay. And so we're going to talk about our mindset around lead generation today. When you got into the real estate business, you got into the lead generation business. So we think it's all about showing homes and writing up contracts. And really the majority of your time is going to be spent on lead generating. And we're going to let somebody else pop in here. Hi, Caitlin, welcome. All right, so when we ask, is your fear of failure greater than your fear of lead generating? If you're not lead generating, you're most likely not going to stay in the industry. Lead generation is your number one job. And what we're going to do is talk about the 6 core competencies of business and how lead generation is a part of that. So you've first learned about the core competencies in session 2. This is your first session with Ignite and you missed the first few, they are recorded. You can go back and ask Mara or Erin for the recordings and they'll send you the link. But lead generation is your number one job. It's going to fuel your business, helping you to reach your goals that you've set for yourself. The more leads you have, the more business and success you're going to have. And lead generation includes talking to people about buying and selling real estate. It's also about capturing accurate contact information. That includes not just their name and phone number, but an email and even a home address if you can get it. Any other information that's personal that you want to jot down in their profile on your database and your CRM and Command to allow you to connect with them and have great conversations moving forward. And, your lead generation also includes converting those leads to appointments. All right. That's when you find active buyers and sellers, you're going to set an appointment and agree to work together on buying and selling real estate. And what we're going to do next is talk about fears. Again, bear with me. My computer's not cooperating. It keeps freezing up. Lead generation, fears and myths. Okay. And as a new agent, I'm not sure where you all came from in your previous career. But when we talk about real estate and creating that lead generation, it is about having conversations with people. It's about making phone calls. And sometimes that phone weighs, 100 pounds. We just don't want to pick it up. And so we want to talk about what are those fears. And some typical ones we hear are that we think lead generation is really difficult. I don't have enough time to lead generate. I don't know what to say. And I'm afraid of making mistakes. And guess what? Those are all the same fears that Gary Keller faced when he first got into the industry as well. And his story, when you get shift, it's on page 52 if you want to jot that down and you can read about what his story looked like for that. So when we talk about lead generation is really difficult, confusing effort with enjoyment, he says. He was confusing effort with enjoyment. His lead generation is actually easy. It's just not fun, right? It's not, out of all the things we do in real estate, the lead gen part is probably not the most fun. And it is the most important. And it's really easy. Not having time to lead generate. He said he admitted he had an issue of making time and protecting that time. And we talk a lot about blocking your time. And then it's not just putting it on your calendar, it's protecting it. So I know that the earlier sessions of Ignite, you guys have talked about your calendar and booking time out to do your lead generation. Are you guys actually doing that? Can I have a show of hands? How many are actually working on their lead generation? Fantastic. We love that. And a lot of you, I don't see your faces, but if you're doing it, congratulations. And part of time blocking it is, distractions come up all of the time, whether it's a text that comes in, somebody needs something from us, an email. When you really focus on lead gen and you have a script and you're going through your calls and you're connecting with people, when you focus just 1 or 2 hours of doing just that, there's typically no emergencies. If there are, of course, address it. But when you can just give all of your focus onto that lead generation and protecting that time, that is going to be your best friend. Also not knowing what to say. And so getting on the path of mastering dialogue skills needed in the business, a lot of people, you'll hear them called scripts. And we also call them talk tracks. It really is just dialogue. There are so many scripts available for you within the Keller Williams model. And we have script practice every morning. And the idea of that is not to sound like a robot, not to just be, hi, it's Serena with Keller Williams. And I wanted to know if you know anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, right? That just doesn't feel very authentic or You want to be in relationship and come from contribution. So there's a lot of different ways to have those conversations, and we give you some examples. The key with that is making it your own. Use that, learn it, and then make it your own and tweak it, right? So not knowing what to say, we've got that covered for you. And being afraid of making mistakes. Whoops, let me go back. Hold on, I'm going the wrong way. Okay. I found that lead generation is nothing more than a set of tasks and skills that are well documented. And that's really all it is. There's no mistaking in that. And really it's about the main thing is it's time on task over time is the simple answer to success. And how many of us are patient? I know for one, I'm not very patient, right? And so the whole time on task over time is like, not my friend. I just want to get there. I want to have the clients to work with. I want to have the conversations and have it quickly. But the lead gen really is something that time on task over time, you are going to get the results. I know because I've seen it in my own business. I've seen it with all the top agents here. They're dedicated to doing their lead gen time, and it shows. So I really encourage you to work on blocking out that time. So lead generation is the #1 key to being successful in real estate. It doesn't matter how great you are at actually selling houses. If no one knows you're in the business of selling houses and they don't feel connected to you in a way that is genuine, they're not going to reach out to you when they are ready to sell, right? So you already have 2 key components of lead generation. You have a sphere of influence, which is called your SOI, and a database. And who here has more than 10 people in their phone, right? Most of us probably have over 100. I actually looked at mine before this class, and I have over 1,900. I have almost 2,000. So that's a lot. And even if, let's say, half of those are in the industry of real estate, that's still 1,000 people in my database, just in my phone, right? And that's what most of us are using for a database these days, our phone. But I love at the beginning of the call, somebody even brought up, hey, I'm importing, I think it was D, I'm importing my Christmas list, right? Some of those people may or may not be in your phone, but you have them somewhere from a Christmas card list that you've had, or maybe it's an Excel database for that. So what I want everybody to do right now is to actually get out your phone. All right, we're going to do a little example here. I want you to scroll down to the bottom of your contacts. Go to your contacts, scroll to the bottom. And at the very bottom, it usually gives you a number for the total people that are in your database. Mine were actually 1997 to be exact. And then what we want to do with that is write that number down on your worksheet, the number of contacts in your phone. Okay, and they say the average potential business from that, you're going to multiply it by 0.081. So according to the National Association of Realtors, the typical person is going to move 8 times, or every 8 years rather. And if we can assume that 64.8% of your database is a homeowner and they're going to move every 8 years, that means about 8.1% or 0.081 of your database will buy, sell, or even both buy and sell a home in the next 8 years. So that's why we use the 0.081. So we're going to use these numbers to figure out how many people you already know that are going to buy or sell this year. And what we're going to do is multiply that number of contacts by the 0.081, write down what you came up with. And then the next thing you're going to do out of those people, the potential referrals in your database, that's times 0.10. Okay, so your potential closings from contacts and then times 0.10 for your referrals in your database. And we're going to go a little further. We're going to assume that all the people in your sphere of influence, 10% are going to refer you. Okay, when we multiply that, that's how many referrals you're going to get in a year. When we add D, B, and C together, you're going to get your potential out of your database for this year. Okay, does somebody want to share how many people are in their database?
So I scrolled down and I have 261 contacts.
Okay,
So then for B, that would be 21 potential closing. And for C, that's 26 potential referrals.
okay,
And then for D, you said to add B and C?
correct. Add B and C together.
So that would be 47 total potential.
Correct. And average commission, now in our market center, average commission, I'm just going to say it is around 10,000 to make it easy. And that's pretty close. So if we say 10,000 for average commission and you times that by your 47, okay, that's $470,000 of income potential. Okay. Did somebody else come up with other numbers?
Mine's at 478.
Okay.
So it works all the way working down to 680,000.
680,000. That's great. And that's over, just so that we're clear here, when they say they're gonna buy, sell every 8 years on average. It used to be every 4 to 7. Now they say it's every like 7 to 10. This average that just came out is 8 is what we're using for this example. So $680,000 in commission over, even if we divide that by 8 years, that's a minimum of 85,000 just from the people that are in your database right now. And that requires keeping in touch with them, right? So your contact list is a database. Your social media is another potential database. We're just talking about the people that are in your current phone right now, but how many people do you have on your Facebook that you're connected to, on Instagram? If we're going to be in relationship with our contacts in a professional sense, we need to have them organized and accessible in a smart database. And we're all going to be using Command. And when we enter our potential clients, our leads, we get them into Command, we're going to be able to access smart plans with that. And you're going to be learning more about smart plans in future Ignite classes. And we also throw some special classes in every once in a while. Nick just did one last month, Nick West on our ALC. And that was for a Smart Plans in Action where he created one and you guys just got to tweak it and it was already there for a 32 touch. So it's a very, very powerful tool. But if you don't have people in your database, then it's not going to work. You have nobody to market to. All right. So we're going to touch a little bit on feeding your database. In this next section, we're going to cover how to make your database smart. Okay. You have your sphere of influence, you have your database, you've been generating leads from that database, and we're going to communicate with them strategically. All right. How many of you have already been doing some lead generation?
So
Most
I've
of
been
you are
doing,
off screen. Go ahead, Kathy.
oh, I was just gonna say, I know I don't officially have a license yet, but I've been doing it through my personal sphere and just starting those conversations and relationships and just like hosting events at my house and things like that.
I love that, Isabel. Good job.
And I don't have my license yet either until my background comes in, but I did make a post on Facebook and I have talked to a few friends. And just letting them know that I'm here, and even if it's not somebody wanting to buy and they're not in my local area here, that I can definitely hook them up with a great agent in their locale. So,
Mhm. Fantastic. Yep. The referrals are, some agents work a lot by referral, right? So I love that you're thinking that already. That's fantastic. So the path to self-mastery takes time, and learning these new habits and skills is going to take a little bit of time. So be patient with yourself. Just, be consistent and add a little bit to it each week. You're going to be on your way. So your database, one more second. I'm just having computer problems, and I appreciate you guys, your grace today while I'm working through that. So we're going to talk next about our lead generation model. You're going to hear this over and over again throughout your career. It's really the most important activity is your lead generation. I've already said it like 10 times so far in this class. But, for you to it's the last thing, even as you grow, if you in your business, you start to grow a team yourself, lead generation is going to be one of those last things that you really let go of yourself as a rainmaker. So the skills that you're going to learn through lead generation model are going to stick with you, whether you're a solo agent, whether you join a team, whether you start running a team yourself. Lead generation is the foundation. So as you've learned, Keller Williams has a model for everything. And it makes sense that there'd be a model for your number one job, which is lead generation. So we're going to explore that. You're in a relationship business. And so the more relationships you have, the more business you're going to have. And this model here is showing us the relationship with people, staying in relationship with them, to be their real estate expert of choice so that they buy and sell with you. And what we're doing, the lead capture piece of this is simply getting people into your database, right? So that you can start nurturing a relationship with them. There are things that Command has, like I said, the smart plans that are going to automatically reach out to your database for you. So that you don't always have to be picking up the phone or texting them yourself. It's done automatically. It will trigger you to, okay, now it's time to actually pick up the phone and make a call to them. But it allows you to reach out to them on a regular basis. And when they raise their hand and respond to something, you're right there to pick up. Okay. So at the top of the model, there's two different activities that bring leads into your business. It's prospecting and marketing. And you can never have too many leads. So a lot of leads or a quantity of leads gives you good quality of leads. It's a matter of having a lot. And I wanted to point out, I'll get to that in a minute, I guess. So it's a best practice to generate your leads through a prospecting based or marketing enhanced approach. Prospecting is proactive and direct. You're actively searching for leads. Prospecting, it's a low cost method to no cost when you prospect. It's going to yield a quantity of leads, which in turn gives you quality leads. It establishes personal relationships. It's going to keep you in direct contact with the market of the moment, and it increases your confidence and skill. So with marketing, you're going to be putting your information out there to attract leads through sources like social media or print ads, radio. People still do radio, promotional materials, putting out, if you're doing pens or lip balms or things like this, that's marketing. And prospecting is more, I have time and no money. Marketing is more, I have money and less time, right? And so many agents, when they get started in the business, they're going to be doing more of those prospecting type of lead generation. And I'm going to just show you real quick. The MREA, that's your red book, the MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Page 138 is the one, they have such a great diagram in there between all of the prospecting and all of the marketing opportunities that they are. So that's a good resource for you guys to look at. And again, I don't want to click to, there it goes. I just have to be patient. Again, we talked about patience. I'm not, so. Prospecting versus marketing. So again, marketing is money intense, passive, long-term results, and prospecting is going to take time. It's proactive, and you're going to get more immediate results with that. All right. Your database is just a container that holds the information for your leads and contacts. And a smart database, or what we like to call it, is your data bank. It allows you to have planned and meaningful communication with your database. So with the market, your preferences, your budget, your goals, who you're actually marketing to, that's all going to come into play for you. And top agents track their most productive lead sources, and they're usually coming from their sphere of influence. That's always typically number one. Repeat business, your past clients, and referrals, right? And online advertising. So that everybody's online nowadays. So those are going to be your top ones. And there is no single approach or method that is going to bring you all the leads you need to reach your goals. So some people say, well, I'm just going to work with my family and friends, the people I know, and that'll get me through. And especially in a shifting market, what we find is that will get you some business, but it's not going to get you all of the business, right? So having more, we like to say it's a three-legged stool that we have. And we'll talk more about that here in a minute. No matter what your approach is, you should always be offering some form of value in exchange for their information. Okay, if they're going to take time and give you their email or their phone number, you want to be sure that you're coming from contribution and you're offering something of value to them. And we have ideas to help you with that as well. And though you won't rely on a single source for lead generation, you also aren't going to do all of them. And I just showed you that list of about 15 of each. There's more than that, but 15 to 20. But you want to pick the top three. It's like, we call it a three-legged stool. One is not enough. 5 is too many. If you focus on that three-legged stool, it's very balanced. And again, a lot of people are their sphere of influence. I wrap all that together. My sphere of influence are the people in my database, my past clients, and the referrals I'm getting from them. That's like 1. And then I've got like open houses would be another one. That's 2. And then my social media marketing might be 3. Okay, there's a lot of different opportunity there. So in Ignite, what we're going to focus on mainly is prospecting, because we know successful lead generation is prospecting based. All right, so we're not going to talk about money and marketing and paying for things. We're going to talk about more things that you can do that don't cost money. Prospecting, it's less expensive, and it's what's going to protect your business when the market is slowing down and when you're first starting, right? So we want to be thinking about giving you the best bang for your buck. And part of that when you get started is, if you can do it for free, then let's do it that way. Let's learn that skill set. You can always add to it. All right. So as you gather people's information through prospecting or marketing, and you're going to have generated that lead, the next step is to put that information into your database. Okay, so the database, it's simply the container that's going to hold the information for all the leads that you've generated. And if you're looking for a cost-effective tool, you have that in Command. And so are you guys familiar? Have you logged into your system and you've looked at Command? You're starting to import your contacts there. Great. Super user-friendly. And it's very, very diverse, right? It's simple yet so vastly effective. So Smart Database is going to provide you the ability to have planned and meaningful communication with everyone in your database. It's going to keep you in a relationship with them. Like I said a minute ago, you don't have to pick up the phone every week to talk to them. They're going to be touched on a regular basis. based on the smart plans that you set up with them. And there's nothing more valuable than having a data bank that works for you, okay? We use the terminology of leads and contacts to categorize people in our database. So far in your success system, you've been communicating with your sphere of influence and people you know and who know you. And these people are contacts with whom you have their permission to have two-way conversations. You already know them, you're already in relationship. Leads are people who've shown interest in the service that you might offer. Maybe you've met them at an open house or just in conversation at a restaurant or a mutual friend. They've provided a way for you to contact them. However, you haven't engaged yet in a two-way conversation, okay? So what are some examples of leads that you can think of?
Open house contacts.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Where else do we find leads?
Referrals.
Mm-hmm. Referrals are leads.
You can find a lead in a grocery store.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yep.
Communities that we visit regularly, like the gym or, like you said, restaurants.
Yep, absolutely. Our local communities and where we're engaging with people. And also on social media, right? Especially the people that follow you, right? They're keeping an eye on you for some reason. So we have our database organized in those two buckets, leads and contacts. And the way we communicate with each of those is different. Contacts are people we know, leads are people that we don't quite yet know that way. And so we want to make sure that we're attending to these relationships and cultivating them in a way that makes sense. So once you have a lead, you need to create a relationship with that person. And so you want to sustain and strengthen that relationship. And there's an introduction into what sustaining relationships looks like, since we have a whole section on lead follow-up later in Ignite. So there's going to be a whole class on how you follow up with leads. Sustaining our relationships is what we see in the model as cultivating contacts for conversion. Okay, so there's a purpose. We're cultivating those contacts. They come into your database, they're a lead, you strengthen that relationship, and then you're cultivating it for a conversion, which is interactive and it's needs-based. Okay, so converting a lead or contact to an appointment means that your client has the intent to buy or sell real estate with you. And each time you reach out to a person in your database, that communication is called a touch. A purposefully planned series of touches is called a campaign. And so in a touch, a coordinated campaign puts you in front and center of people's minds when they think of real estate. That's the purpose. When people see your name, you want them to think real estate. That is the go-to. So these touches are how we strengthen that relationship. And having someone in your database doesn't make them a client. Reaching out to them consistently and systematically with value and deepening your relationship helps bring them closer to being your client in the future. So one way to systematically and consistently reach out is through these automated touches. And within Command, you have access to the smart plans and opportunities. And those are going to help you with sending emails, text, and setting notifications for when you're supposed to call them. So as you see on the screen, we've got our phone call, our email, text message, meeting them face-to-face, breaking bread, taking them out to lunch, connecting them, making sure that they have your KW app, and there's an email you can send out to your database so they can connect with you. Handwritten communication. Who sends out cards nowadays, right? It's like, who likes getting cards? It's kind of a forgotten thing, but it's like, that is such a great way when you've met somebody, say you're out at a community like Isabel, you're out at the gym or something, and you really connected with somebody, and you get their information. get them in your database, but then send them a thank you card. Hey, I really appreciated you took the time out to have a conversation with me. It was really great to meet you. You have such great energy, whatever it is. And send them a little card in the mail. It doesn't cost much and it really makes an impact. So I love that that's on here. She's got it. We're short on staff today a little bit in the office, so Mara and I are keeping our eyes out for that, so thanks. All right, next we're going to talk about the final piece of the model for our client and referral loop. So once the lead's converted to a contact, they can provide either new or repeat business, or they can provide us with referrals. So why do you think this part of the model is referred to as the loop?
Well, you want them to go in a circle. You want to have them become a client with a closed transactions, and then they refer you, and then you drop them back up into your touch program so that you stay top of mind. And then it's just like repeat business, right? Repeat paycheck.
Exactly, Dee. Yep, that's exactly it. They continue to stay in your database, and it's your job to continue to build that and add more from the people they're connecting you with. Fantastic. All right, and as you nurture your leads and contacts and continue to lead generate for new sources of business, you're either going to be doing transaction from new, repeat, or referral business. And the most important thing to remember here is that lead generation is something that never ends, right? It's best when it's time blocked, and it's going to determine the size of your business, right? Your database is your data bank. And so some people think, oh, I don't need to put anybody in the system. They know me, they love me, they're going to refer their friends and family to me. You know, sometimes again, it's top of mind, and everybody knows 5 realtors right now. Let's be honest. There's so many people in real estate. So the value that you're providing with these touches, it's a matter of keeping them top of mind. Somebody said every 2 weeks, people forget that you do real estate. They just don't remember, right? And you could be their neighbor and they know that you do real estate, but 6 months from now, they're like, oh yeah, I'm ready to buy, and they're in an open house and they meet somebody and connect with them. And then there's their new agent, right? And you've lost that. So staying in communication with them along the way, and it's being there when they're ready. So don't feel like you're bugging them. If you're reaching out to them a couple times a month through either a text or an email or a phone call or a card, something that is going to keep you top of mind, and you're bringing value to them. So they're going to think of you. That's the key. And again, we have so many different ideas and processes for you to plug into to help with that. Are there any, before we move on, are there any other ahas, questions that we've talked about so far?
I think that I didn't really think about the fact that contacts are more than just my phone contacts, that they're also people that are just on social media that maybe I'm not close with, but in like the weird social media relationship with. So that's a really great reminder to nurture that group as well.
Yeah, definitely. Some people, that's their main focus, is connecting with people on social, because it is a database in and of itself. Yeah. Isabel, you were going to say something.
So you said you want to, when we're fostering these relationships, we want to make sure we're giving value in exchange for like contact information. I was just wondering if we could share maybe some ideas or maybe some things that have worked for other people in the past, just because that's such a new concept.
Yeah. And, here's the cool thing is this is the first of 7 Ignite classes that talk about leads and lead follow-up and those conversations. So we're going to get into that in future. But just, for something simple, like whether it's somebody at the gym that you meet or talking to, and you've made that connection that, hey, I'm in real estate now, I'm super excited about it. And one thing that I did as a new agent, I would love to practice my CMA on you. Do you mind? Can I have your address? I would love to give you a free home evaluation. And you're probably not looking to buy or sell right now. That's cool, but I just want to be able to do that. And who knows, they may be wanting to buy or sell, or they might know some, hey, I'm not, but my aunt is, and just you offering that value. So that's just one little way to provide a value to them, but we're going to get into a lot more of those. So it's a great question, and we'll
Thank you.
touch on it. Yep. All right, anybody else? All right, thank you both, Dee and Isabel. We're going to move on here, and in the previous, apparently you guys have already talked about this. You touched upon your sphere of influence. So this goes along the lines of Dee's aha. We're going to dig deeper into your sphere of influence and why it's so important to your business. So your sphere of influence is likely to be your biggest source of new, repeat, and referral clients. And what we want to do is look at the people in your life that influence you and who you can also influence. And these can be relationships that are close friends and family, or even more distant connections, like your child's friend's parents, a former coworker, a neighbor, your mom's friend from college. There's just so many people in your world. And a lot of times we don't think about it. We think of our contact base, yes, as these are the people in my phone, and that's my contact database. And it's really not. We're connected to so many people. So it's really important for you to connect to your current sphere of influence systematically, efficiently, and effectively, like we've already talked about. And what we're going to do is we're going to get into that deeper throughout Ignite. But what I want you to do is kind of expand on your sphere right now and what you think your sphere really is and looks like. So we're going to categorize your sphere of influence. All right. And we're going to have a bit of an exercise here. So we're going to go beyond those immediate relationships. And one way is to change how you think about those relationships, what they look like. So we're going to look at these 15 categories and see if we can expand on the roles or the relationships that you might have within the category. So we've got immediate family, friends, relatives, neighbors, past coworkers, hobby and sports groups, teachers, worship, club and volunteer, professional services, doctors, therapists. Talk about, whoops, my fingers are on the keyboard. So I want to know if you guys have some other ideas. What additional categories can you share?
So I'm a teacher, so like and I teach kindergarten, so I'm usually like the first face that they see when they're navigating the school system. So I do a lot of relationship building with the families, and I give them my personal information, and then they, that's not something that's required. But because a lot of times these kids are leaving home all day for the very first time, I want to be very accessible. So that came up as a category for me, is that I wasn't thinking about before. It was like, okay, the families of my students, I didn't really think of as sphere of influence, but I guess that could be another one.
That's a really big one, Isabel. Yeah. And I think that's a big aha for you today, to realize that whole category. And again, we want to do it from contribution, and you don't want to be like throwing up on them like, hey, now here's my card, that type of thing. And we have to do it and I know you've already heard about this, every time a TCPA compliant way, right? Super important. The do not call list, you need to be sure that you're honoring that and following the law. So we talk about that at the end, but I'm just throwing it in there right now for that reason too. So yeah, that's great. All the professional services, like we said, personal services. What about where you get your hair done, your nails done? right? If you go tanning, if you're involved in any clubs like a wine club or a book club, or your children in sports, so many things that way. Where do you get your car wash done? There's just a lot of different places. Your landscaper, do you have a housekeeper? Everybody we know knows people. So kind of take a minute to think about who in your world, where are you already connecting with people, and realizing that that is a database for you to add. So if you could think about in each of those categories, adding at least one person to each category, is there somebody you know in those categories you could add to your database today? Well, it's kind of the challenge right now. So I actually literally want you to jot down a few names in those categories of people you know. And I think in your, I'm going to follow along with you. You have a spot in your Ignite book, categories 1 through 15, people you know. So take a couple minutes and write those names down.
What page is it in the book?
It is
Right.
on page 5.9.
5.9, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And again, it lists 1 through 15, and just reading those categories and thinking for a moment, it's going to trigger some names that probably aren't in your phone right now, right? Which you consider your database, but get them into command. So I'll have a couple more minutes to write down, and then we're going to share how many additional people we came up with. All right, how are we doing on that? Do you guys want to share some of the numbers? How many additional contacts did you come up with? And if you're sharing, you're muted, so go ahead and unmute yourself.
I came up with 20.
20, that's a lot, Isabel.
Schools are big.
Yes. Dee, how about you?
14.
That's amazing. And again, based on how many more sales that is, if you times it by 0.81, that's another, like 2 sales for you, Isabel, right? And at 14, that's another like 1.5 almost. So that's fantastic. So typically our sphere of influence is often much bigger than we think it is. When we think of our sphere, we think of our close sphere and people, that we're in contact with on a regular basis, and getting outside your head and realizing that that world is much bigger, and the potential that you have to reach people, let them know you're in real estate and that you're a resource for them. They may not be ready to buy or sell or invest right away, but sometime within the next 8 years, they're going to be ready to. And in that time, how many people do they know that they can refer to you? So my longest nurture in the past was 2 years. And I had 5 clients out of those 2 years from her family and friends. So even though I hadn't even done anything for her yet, because of the value that I kept bringing to her and staying in touch, she referred people to me. She just wasn't ready to sell yet. So, but she sold and bought with me, and so did 5 of her family and friends. So it's amazing how that works. All right. What we're going to do now is shift our mindset a little bit again. I want you guys to think back on your day yesterday. We're going to take a couple minutes to think about from the time you got up to the time you went to bed. Who did you talk to? Did you call your mom? Did you look at news on your phone? Did you check your email? Did you wake your kids up? Did you grab your workout clothes and go for a run? Just kind of take yourself through your day. Okay. Maybe you sent a couple of emails, you grabbed some coffee, you ran some errands. Just jot down where you went throughout the day. This is what we call building your sphere day by day. We're thinking about all the things we did, the people we interacted with. And again, it's a level of awareness. It might seem rudimentary, but it's like really just bringing it, what we focus on expands, and it's bringing that to our attention to realize how many people we have access to. So looking at your list, I want you to write down who you interacted with or spoke with. Who was the first person you interacted with? Did you guys have a conversation, and what did you talk about? Who did you email? Who did you call? Who texted you? You know, did you wave to a child's friend's mom at drop off? Did you chat with your barista when you got your coffee? Okay. You've identified activities and people you interacted with. And now I want you to think about the interactions, and could you deepen your relationship with any of those people? And it's funny because I can see Isabel, you're not all on my screen right now, but I see Isabel shaking her head up and down. And it's like, yeah, the awareness. There's so many people we interact with.
Yeah, like I felt like yesterday was a pretty calm day. It wasn't like a really full day, but as far as like interactions and people that I saw, it's like at 10 already.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's amazing. So with that, you know, and it doesn't mean you're going to say, hey, I'm in real estate now. It's just creating relationship with them. Could you smile at them? Could you genuinely ask how they're doing? And, you know, it's really just an awareness. It's time to change how you think about your day as you're going through it, because you are in business for yourself, right? You're launching this new career about relationships. And so it's bringing a level of awareness for you that you're not just running into people, you're running into potential clients, people that you can help, right? So your job is to meet and connect with people. And if you think about it, it's pretty amazing, right? Most of us got into real estate because we do like people, right? And we like helping people, and that's what it's about. All right, so we talked about how many people additionally we added, and now we are going to talk about, I kind of alluded to this already, it's one of my favorite things. So in the last exercise, sometimes all we need to do is think about things from a different angle, and you can achieve more. You found more members in your sphere of influence simply by viewing them as categories of people you know. And at Keller Williams, we have a coaching program called BOLD, and you'll have the opportunity to experience BOLD at some point. BOLD stands for Business Objective, a Life by Design. And a little birdie told me that we're probably going to have it here. It's actually going to be potentially at a different office, but we are going to be hosting or co-hosting BOLD this fall. So if you haven't participated in it before, some of you may have come as a guest in the past. It's a fantastic coaching program. I did it when I was a new agent, and it totally changed the trajectory of my success in real estate. It's a very amazing. So the BOLD law, one of them is change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. You may have heard that or a version of that in the past. And that's what we are trying to get you to focus on right now, is thinking about your day and the people in your world a little bit differently. And then you'll be amazed, like Isabel, even though you came up with 10, like tomorrow, you're going to be like totally paying attention. You're all going to be thinking about who am I interacting with and how can I change the way that I interact with them. And again, you want to do it in an authentic and organic way. So the bold helps you shift your mindset, and this is one of the bold laws. When you just did those 15 categories with a simple example of changing how you look at things, so the things you look at change, you realized that you knew more people and there's going to be more opportunity for you in the future. Being a successful agent is about finding more people to help and serve in buying and selling homes. So when you change how you look at that, now your interactions, you're going to find more people that you can help. Any additional ahas? I know we kind of have been on the same topic about expanding our view. So any additional ahas?
Okay, this is the last time I'm going to talk, I promise.
I love it. I love it. Bring it.
I feel like I expanded on that awareness piece when you had us list what our day looked like yesterday and how many interactions we had. So I did that, but I also tried to expand my thinking of how could I expand or build on those interactions in a valuable way and building an authentic relationship way. Like, for example, one of the gals that asked me yesterday, she asked me about a certain workout I was doing and, like, why do you do that? Or how do you do that? Or what, and so it started a conversation. And then that conversation then started with like, okay, I'll send you a link to a video of where I learned this. And so then she gave me we exchanged phone numbers. And so now she's a contact in my phone. But now, like, how could I then expand on that? Like, could I maybe invite her to work out with me one day and, just have that like friendly thing going on before I'm like, hey, I'm in real estate,
Yeah, or, it can come up in so many ways, Isabel, and it's like, we all have limited time, right? We're doing all the things. And so we don't want like this to be I've got to get in deep relationship with everybody I meet right away. And we want to be able to let them know what we're doing in an authentic way. And so a lot of people will also, when you're at the gym, get some branded, a t-shirt, if you wear a baseball cap to the gym, but brand your t-shirt, there's Keller Williams t-shirts that say, hey, buy dirt, or, we have all sorts of different things. So sometimes you can do it in a very passive way and they might ask, or if it comes up in conversation, or you could drop, oh, I was just in this class yesterday that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what class were you in? Oh, for real estate. It's just how you leave little breadcrumbs to open up conversation. But again, as authentic as possible without just throwing up on them. Yeah. So that's great. All right. We are going to move on. Expanding your sphere of influence. So we've talked a lot about lead generation model and why your sphere is the most important lead generation source that you have. We've also talked about how many people are already in your sphere and expanding it by shifting how we think. So are you ready to expand your sphere of influence even further? And that's what we're going to talk about now. All right. So a good touch campaign consists of several types of interactions. It's face-to-face, it's email, it's handwritten notes. And in order to complete these touches with everyone in your sphere of influence in your database, you need to have all their contact information. So I love that Isabel just shared, she had this interaction and she got her phone number. So now she's in her database, and a name and a phone number that allows you to text somebody, right? Contact information is important because we want to reach out to them in various ways, whether it's like we talked earlier, handwritten card can make a big impact, yet it's more expensive and time consuming than an email. A handwritten card may not be the best channel for a lot of information. Okay. So imagine mailing an update on the homes you've sold in that sphere's influence. If you get somebody's address, you can look at the activity around there and just shoot them a complimentary neighborhood update. right? That's not something you're going to necessarily mail, but you can email. So having their email address and their phone number are two of the primary pieces of information you want to gather. It's going to give us something to reach out about. It helps us know them and their needs better. What type of personal information do we want from them? We want, these are additional things: their birthday, their favorite color, where are they from, family status, kids' birthdays, hobbies, just jotting down as much information as you can when you're in conversation. Write yourself a text or put it in their contact information, just little notes and tidbits. And if they say, oh yeah, my mom had surgery last week for blah, blah, blah. The next time you can talk, you can say, hey, how's your mom doing? Did she make it through surgery okay? And if it's their birthday, we have Facebook birthdays and stuff, of course, but especially once you start having clients, you're going to follow up with them even a little bit different. They're going to be like, they're in your world. You've already done business. They know and love you. There's a whole nother section on how we handle our actual clients versus a lead. Okay. So it's the same way with personal information, knowing that they love to crochet. If you see an article online about something, you can shoot it to them. Hey, I saw this and thought of you. You don't always have to be asking, or it's not about real estate. It's just about who they are and connecting with them. You're already doing this with the people that are in your world on a close basis, your best friends and things like that. Now it's expanding it a little bit to create a relationship with some leads. All right. We maybe also want to know, are they a home owner or a renter? If you see it's someone's birthday on Facebook, direct message them and then ask for their address to send a card. Who's going to tell you no, right? Oh, you want to send me a card? Sure. If your neighbor's complaining about low water pressure, ask them for their phone number so you can share the contact of your favorite plumber. And if you don't have a favorite plumber and you're new in real estate, guess what? The agents in your office have all of the things. So plumbers, handymen, electricians, all of that. So it's great to get referrals from your agent database. And that's the thing at Keller. We have such a great culture. Sharing is caring, caring is love. And our agents like to share that information. So don't hesitate to ask. All right. So another great way to make sure I didn't miss that one here. Hold on. Yeah, don't be shy about just asking is the key thing, asking questions. Another way to expand your sphere is to pull those who have casual relationships with you in close proximity. We've talked about this a little bit already when we went through your day. So starting to see your everyday tasks and errands as an opportunity to get into relationship or closer relationship with those people. Do you usually play games on your phone when you're at your daughter's soccer game? Are you checking your email and text, or are you actually having conversation and interacting with the people around you? It's time to put down the phone and start peopling, right? Folks may or may not be in the market for a home right now, but don't forget 8.1% of the people that may be ready to buy, sell, or invest. And they also know people. Remember, it's your career now. So if they buy a house this year, great. If they buy a house next year, great. If it's 3 years from now, you still want to be in business doing real estate 3 years from now. Yes or yes, right? So it's all about the long game with that. So, and during that time, like I said, if they refer you clients within that 3-year period, that is just a win-win. It's helping your career grow and become even better. And another great way to expand your sphere is to meet others with similar interests, right? So joining groups. If you love basketball, join a neighborhood basketball league. If you've always wanted to clean up green spaces in your city, do that. Wine clubs, real estate's a demanding career, but what career isn't? You're starting a new career and it's important that you have a career that you enjoy. So align your career with your interests and your values, right? Those when we hang out with people that we have the same interests and likes, it just makes that relationship happen more organically. When you have those shared interests and values with like-minded people, and they want to work with you. Another great way to expand your sphere is to wear, this is what I said earlier, and it's in my notes, is to wear your Keller Williams name tag, swag, anything real estate related. You know, I have my, you know, your Stanley Cup or your Yeti cup.
Hey, Serena, where do we get all of that KW like hats and
Yeah,
t-shirts and things like that?
so there's actually a KW, it's called the Red Store. It's the KW Red Store. And they have things there that you can purchase. And then a lot of people, like I personally have a Cricut. I know agents that have Cricuts that do the vinyl. So like a lot of people put it on the back of their laptop. So I've given advice to a couple of agents, you know, hey, if you're going to be doing work, don't sit at home in your home office, go to a coffee shop, whether it's a Starbucks or wherever, go to your favorite coffee shop, open your laptop, have your mug there with your logo on it. Your laptop has your logo on it. You're busy doing it. This guy and his wife have been doing it. They've had people come up to them and ask them about real estate. So it works. I did that in Arizona all of the time. And sometimes I would say, you know, to the barista, here's $100, you know, for the first however many people until it runs out, you know, coffee's on us. And they would just say, hey, yeah, the lady over there, the coffee's on her today. And I'd be over there working. And it just opens, they'll say thank you. Some just won't care. And some have opened up conversation. Again, that's marketing and prospecting combined. So yeah, but those are ways that you can, again, passively tell people what you do without having an actual conversation, but it opens that up. What else? And again, you no longer have errands, you have opportunities to connect with people. So think about that all the time. And I'm going to share a real quick story. I was a fairly new agent and I went to Home Depot. I was remodeling my bathroom and my kitchen. I went to Home Depot looking like a hot mess. I had paint in my hair, no makeup on. I was in a tank top and shorts and flip-flops. And I needed help finding a light bulb. The light bulbs, there were too many of them and I needed one for above my stove, the little light bulb, and I didn't know which one to pick. So I asked this gentleman to help me. He was in the same area. We got to talking and he was getting his house ready to list. And I said, oh, really? I said, well, I'm a realtor. I said, do you have somebody you already know and love that you're working with? And he goes, no, I don't. And I said, I know I don't look like it now, but I am a realtor. Here's my card. I had my card with me in my purse. And so I got a listing from that. Right. And so again, we don't want to be a secret agent. If you have the opportunity and it just comes up, then go for it. Right. All right. So we're going to move on. Expanding your sphere of influence with referrals. So when we discussed that lead generation model, we saw that your business will come from new, repeat, and referral business. And remembering that your sphere of influence are those people who know you, your reputation, your professionalism, they're likely to give you referrals. And like you, they know a lot of people and they have their own sphere of influence. It just expands. So most of your sphere wants to help you succeed at your real estate business. They're eager to help you. And so using them and their influence and their sphere is fantastic. It's a win-win. So just be sure your sphere knows that you're a real estate agent and that you want to work with their friends, family, coworkers, acquaintances. You want to let them know that you'd love for them to tell you if they know of anyone who's looking to buy, sell, or invest. So we're going to look at some conversation starters and see how simple it is to ask for referrals. All right, here are some examples that might look familiar. I'm building my business on people I know and the people they know. So do you know of anyone, family or friends from work, your neighborhood, or a group you belong to that might be thinking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I'd be pleased to be a resource for them. Okay. And if you hear of someone with a real estate need, will you keep me in mind and let me know right away? And I'm going to also share with you, when you start working with clients, keep asking for referrals. this is a little golden nugget for you guys. A lot of even top agents miss out on this piece. It might feel uncomfortable at first. It is how I built my business. All right. Don't be afraid to ask for referrals. If people are I'm working with a buyer. We get together for the buyer consultation. I'll say, hey, do you know of anyone else? First I would say, I'm so excited. I get to hand you keys in like the next 45 to 60 days. That's so cool. I bet your friends and family are really excited for you right now. And, speaking of which, if there's anybody in your circle that might be looking to buy or sell, I would be honored if you'd connect us. I'd love to help them too. I kind of set it up like that, right? Now, if it's somebody I don't jive with and I don't like, their friends are probably like them. I might not have that conversation. No, just kidding. I would. And if I had to refer it out, there you go. But no, I would say that. And then we would go look at houses. And I would say, hey, have you come across anybody who's looking to buy or sell in real estate? And they'll be, oh, no, haven't thought about it. Okay, great. Well, then we go to the inspection. Same question. Hey, did you guys think about anybody who come across anybody? Nope. Okay, no problem. We get to the final walk. Hey, here's my neighbor's aunt. She's moving here from Wisconsin. She needs a real estate agent, right? It's reciprocity. If you keep asking, pretty soon they're going to start thinking of and putting ears out. They don't care if anybody else is buying or selling, but you keep asking them and you're having a great transaction with them. You're being so helpful to them. Their ears are going to start perking up. And if they're at a restaurant and they hear somebody talking, they might say, hey, I have a great agent, or something like that. So always ask for referrals from your own clients. People forget that. They get so involved in just the transaction and they don't ask. And yeah, so anyhow, there's that. What ahas do you guys have?
Keep asking for referrals. That's a big one because it keeps them thinking about it. So I think that was my big one.
Good.
I like the branded sticker on the laptop and working in the coffee shop idea. I think that's a cool thing. I really love that you purchase coffee for people too. That's such a nice thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All righty. Thanks for sharing. So now that you have a larger and deeper understanding of lead generation and how important it is to your business, we're going to put it into action. So we're going to talk about best practices. So lead generation best practices, they're going to help you establish a productive lead generation system. And the best lead generation system is one that you're going to be consistent with, right? And also delivers the leads. So what you're going to want to do is keep track of where your leads are coming from. And when you're doing that in Command and you're importing, you can easily track that, right? There's going to be a source. Where did that source come from? Because information is very valuable on how you're going to grow. And we're going to talk about that later too. You also want to audit your lead sources to determine what your top lead sources are. It's best to practice again on your top 3 sources of lead gen. So if your top 2 is your sphere and open houses, great, and social media, rather than adding a 4th or a 5th. And as new agents, you're getting bombarded, especially on social media, with all of the different coaching and programs and online this and that. Focus on building your first 2 or 3, and rather than adding a 4th or 5th, double down on whatever your top lead gen is. If it's your sphere of influence, treat your sphere, take them out for a coffee day. Hey, we're going to meet, Sunday morning at 10 o'clock to have coffee together or whatever. Do something with the people that are in your world and they're referring or doing business with you. Audit your lead sources. We talked about that. Diversify your database. So we kind of saw through the exercises how diversifying your database you can do that just by interacting with the people that you come into contact with every day, building deeper relationship. So an openness to a diverse client database opens up opportunities. Diversity is not one thing. For example, it's not just race. It's what makes each of us unique. So it's our cultural backgrounds, experiences, personalities, beliefs. It includes race, nationality, gender, physical and mental ability, spiritual and religious beliefs, class, sexual orientation, so much more. So having a diverse database and sphere of influence prepares your business for changes in the market. The broader and more inclusive your client pool is, the more ready you're going to be for changes as they happen in new trends in real estate. And we know, I mean, real estate is like a little roller coaster. It has its trends. And this diversity amongst your database is going to help you, rather than just depending again on your friends and family who you know. You really need to grow that database. So being consistent and lead generating every day, or, you know, whatever your days are. Some people might say, hey, Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm going to spend 6 hours lead generating. That's all I'm going to do. And lead generating looks different for different people. I only teach this class in lead generation. There's so much that I have about lead generation. It's kind of a passion of mine because there's so many different ways to do it. And it's like, for some people, it's yes, it's always picking up the phone, big part of it. And I'm very much a people person. And so I like to do lead generation in person. I like to go to the coffee shop and have my things there. And don't ask me to go cold call and door knock people. I'll run the other direction, right? But doing it around an open house, I'm coming from contribution. I'll do that all day, every day, right? Because that's easy. You're bringing something of value. So lead generation looks different, but just be sure that you are doing it. All right. And so there's one additional practice we're going to talk about. And it's time blocking. I alluded to that a little bit ago. Time blocking your lead generation is so important. Have you been making your daily success system a priority as you're getting your business off? Have you guys been working on your daily success system? I heard at the beginning of the call, some of you shared what you were doing. And then a lot of you got on later in the call. So just make sure you guys are working on that. Top agents are going to lead generate. That's their number one job. Okay. And they typically lead generate for 3 or 4 hours a day. And Gary Keller says in a shifting market, when you lead gen, whatever you're doing, you need to double, triple down on that, right? So some of our agents are literally lead genning 4 to 6 hours a day. That's their focus, right? And business is picking up. You know, our agents are busier. People are, the buyer, what's the word? Not the buyer index. I always forget that word. I can't think of the word. That's okay. But the buyer confidence level, you know, is higher right now. Interest rates have come down a little bit, so things are moving. This time consists of several activities when you're time blocking. You want to prepare your mindset to success. You want to practice conversations with a partner. If you don't have a partner, if there's nobody in your workspace at home, do it with a dog, a cat, call somebody on the phone. You know, you have agents here at the office that will practice with you. Prepare your list in advance, have conversations, maintain your database, putting notes in, and follow up on any commitments that you promised in a timely manner, right? If you're having conversation and there's opportunity for you to send out a CMA or a neighborhood update, then do that. You know, follow up, be true to your word, be consistent. Lead generation, hands down, without a doubt, no competition, you're number one. How many times have I said that? There's 4 key things you can do to protect your lead generation time block once you've set it, because it is so important. Build a bunker. Find somewhere to work that takes you out of the path of disruption and interruption. Okay, where you're going to work that will avoid distractions. Store provisions, having supplies, materials, snacks, beverages, so that you can just focus and get it done. Sweep for minds. That means that you're going to shut off everything that will distract you or take time from your focus. If it means turning off your phone or turning off notifications, exiting your internet browser, turning off the TV, whatever it might be that is causing a distraction, make sure that's out of your space. And then enlisting support. Tell those who are most likely to seek you out what you're doing and when you'll be available. So if you know, I'm going to start lead genning every day from 10 to 12, and that's usually when, you know, my dad calls or my brother checks in with me, whatever it might be, just let them know, hey, I'm not going to be available during this time. This is my focus time to work on my business. So they have a heads up. Okay. And they can also help support you, right? All right. Do we have any ahas at this point?
Definitely the time blocking for lead generation and incorporating those 3 to 4 hours into your schedule so you can be successful.
Mhm. Yep. Would anybody else like to share?
I think it just emphasizes the importance of blocking the time, because really lead generation, like you've mentioned, that's really the core of being a realtor. So blocking the time, you make sure you're making sure that you do achieve what you set out to achieve.
Mhm. Love that. All right. So those are some ahas. What about questions? Because we've come to the end of our actual lesson, if you will. So what questions do you have?
You were saying that there's lists of ideas for lead gen, for like marketing ideas and different things like that. I used to have a binder, but when I moved, I didn't keep it. So is that in the MERA, or is that is it in command somewhere? Or
Yeah, it's actually in MREA and it's page 138. And it gives you a list of all of the prospecting, proactive and direct, and then your marketing as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I guess another one would be, and I think this is way back, but all of the other personal information that we could add in order to make that relationship, I guess, more connected or whatever. And you can reach out more, like if you know their anniversary, like you said, send them a card, send them a happy birthday email, and then that keeps you in contact and keeps you in their mind.
Yep. And, you know, when after you've started having transactions, how I used to do it, you know, my leads I would interact with in one way, and my clients and past clients, I would act a different way and follow up and be in relationship with them. They're now in my world, in my circle. They're not getting rid of me, right? And so I had what was called a Premier Client Program, and they filled out a form when we became in relationship and started working together. And so I would get their information, not just for themselves, but for if they had a partner, spouse, their kids. I would get their anniversary date, birthdays. I would have, okay, what's your favorite restaurant? I gave them like 5 restaurants, you know, what's your top 2 restaurants? Do you like Cold Stone, Dairy Queen, or Baskin Robbins? You know, because we would send the kids on their birthday, we would send them a little gift card for ice cream. So, and not everybody does that, right? But when you take care of people's kids, they love that. And finding out, you know, when you're in a relationship with them and you're going through a transaction, you get to learn more about them. So I always did custom closing gifts as well. one little guy was so excited about having a basketball court. And so I got him a new basketball, right? And as part of the basket, we did more, but, you know, you can do generic gifts and some teams do that, but I always did personal ones. It always seemed to hit the heart a little bit more and connection. But getting that information, and then also like a client party, and this is further down the road. So these are some extras for you guys as you build your client base and you start having transactions. You'll hear a lot about doing client parties. And I never did like one party because I worked with all genres. I worked with, you know, single folks, retired people, young families, just a wide variety. And so, you know, we would do like an Easter egg hunt and invite all of our families to that. Then we would do happy hours and invite, you know, our singles and couples and people that we knew like to drink, you know. And so we did different events for different people. And so keep that in mind as you're growing your database. But yeah, staying in touch with your clients after the closing. Some people like just, okay, we've closed and they've gotten their keys, or, you know, they've moved to another state. Stay in touch with those people as well. When you have listings and they're moving out of state, they lived here for a long time. They know a lot of people. If you still stay in a relationship with them, you're going to get referrals from them. Right. So, and again, lead generation can look very different. You're going to hear, I'm excited about the upcoming classes because you're going to hear from some great agents that we have in our network. And there's so many ways to lead generate and to follow up with your database that feels very authentic and you're coming from contribution rather than, that's the biggest fear or block that I hear from most agents is I don't want to bother people, right? And so that's the first mindset change is you're not bothering them. You're a rock star real estate agent. And even though you're new, you have got all of the agents in your office behind you. You have great leadership, your agent leadership council. You have so many people behind you. So your team is not just yourself. You have a whole team of people behind you. And that includes your Keller Williams family, but it also includes, you know, your lender partners and your title and your home warranty and inspectors. So you have a team around you. So lean on that, lean into that, and go into it with confidence and competency, and know that I told myself, hey, not only, yes, I have things to learn in real estate to level up that game because I'm new, I changed careers, but I know I have high level integrity. I know I'm professional. I know I'm kind. I know I want their best interests at heart. So those are the things that you're going to be bringing to the table that maybe not everybody does. So I know that they're going to benefit by having me as their agent, right? And so even though you might not have all of the skills or know the contract inside and out yet, or how to handle a certain addendum or negotiate a repair, you're going to learn those skills, but, you know, lean on who you are and what you're going to bring to that relationship and helping those people. Yeah. Cool.
So I have a quick, I did a booth somewhere when I was doing real estate in California, and I gave away popcorn packs, microwave popcorn packs, and I tied my card onto it.
Yep.
2 years after I did that event, I got a call from a lady who said, oh my, I was watching a movie with my son and we wanted popcorn, but we didn't have any, but he had your popcorn pack in his toy box. And I found your card. And by the way, I'd like to sell my house. And so she turned into a listing and a purchase.
I love that.
Like a 50-cent popcorn pack.
Yes.
Right?
Yay.
It's like awesome.
That's fantastic, Dee.
people remember who you are, I think. And I think that the lead generation thing, this was a fantastic class, by the way. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm glad.
So much insight, so well delivered. I really appreciate it. And it's really great to remember all of the things about lead generation that is wonderful. You know, it makes your world a better place, I think. So
thank you for sharing that. It is, and that's why I love we start with mindset, because it is how you look at it. You know, is it all those fearful things? And And it's really not, it can be fun. It's if you like people, right? And if you don't like people, then you're probably in the wrong industry, right? Because this is a people and a relationship business. So if you like people and relationships, then it's, and building that foundation, that's fantastic. And that reminds me about the pop buys, right? Those are, I didn't do them just for my clients. I did them for my leads. You know, if they were a close, warm lead and we're in conversation about, yeah, I'm going to be ready in 6 months. I know they're working with a lender. I include them in my pop buys too.
100%. Yeah.
And another, I'm giving you guys some extras because we have a little bit of time. So if you want to hang out for a few more minutes. So one of the things that I shared a couple of weeks ago in a training was at a listing, I would always send the, if it was a female, I would always send flowers to her work. So I knew where she worked, we're in a relationship, and I would send her flowers and congratulations on your listing going live. Right? We're so excited type of thing. And then, you know, sending flowers to work, people are like, oh, do you have a new boyfriend? What's going on? And then, you know, they just share about it and stuff. So that's also like kind of a, and I also like to have the flowers. If I haven't done photos yet, right? I like to have the flowers, they're going to bring them home and then they'll be in the listing photos.
That's a good one.
Adds a little touch. So yeah, and it's really cool. I hope that you guys are in for the next, you know, 4, 5, 6 classes, because they're all on lead generation. And that's the thing, they've done such a great job with the Ignite classes. It's like, where are we in business now in real estate? These are not stagnant classes. They are, what is the market right now? And what do we need to bring for our agents, for our new agents? And having access to top agents from all 4 of our offices, from Sunset Corridor, from Southern, Capital City, here at Eugene Springfield. It's just a really great opportunity. So I encourage, if you can't make the live one, definitely get the recordings from Mara and Aaron, because they're worth watching. So cool. But I really appreciate your guys' time, attention, feedback today. And it's really been a pleasure to spend this time with you. And I'm looking forward to your success.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this
Thank
was
you
great.
very much.
Such a
Thank
great
you.
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys
Thank
have a great
you.
rest of the day,
Bye-bye.
and check in with Mara and Aaron, and Jen is up in Sunset Corridor, right? Yep. Awesome. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.